All right. Hello, Migos Court. It's me, your judge, the OG Vader. And we have Counselor Q joining me today. I love the dance moves, by the way. Hey, that was groovy, all right? Can we get some more of that?
What it do? Oh, I'm feeling good today. I've had a nice little start of the day, and we got this good matchup here. We got another good matchup. We got some good competitive DVD on this Saturday. Now, what's not to feel good about,
I mean, you're right. There were no lies told. All right, guys. So we do have We Overslept versus Monarchy. That is we're looking at a pretty good matchup right here. I'm excited about this. Definitely, you guys may know I am on the We Overslept team, but I can't show any favoritism right now. We commentating, so no bias here. I do hope we can come out of this with the win, but definitely it's gonna be hard fought. I feel like.
Yeah, definitely going to. I think it's going to be one of those games where we're not really sure who is taking it home until we're maybe even in the closing seconds of the final trial. I am excited though. We're gonna be dealing with some corn today. We're gonna be hanging out on the farm. And I think it's gonna offer some challenges for not only our killer, but I think it's going to offer some challenges as far as communications from our survivors on both teams. So I'm excited to kind of see what the game plans look like.
Yeah, indeed. So I have gone ahead and invited one of our survivors here, and it looks like they are going to go ahead and start rolling in with the other survivors. I'm going to need Keeper Lee definitely to go ahead and drop out of the lobby, but yeah, it should be really exciting. And as you said, I think you said, the map we're going to is Fractured Cowshed. So let's go ahead and review that map real quick here in a few moments. But yeah, I don't know. We've seen a couple matches today, and interestingly enough, I expected to see more non-meta killers. But we've seen a lot of nurses, a lot of spirits. People are coming out trying to kind of set the tone, like, this is what you're going to see from us this season. So kind of interesting, different from what I thought I would see.
Yeah, it is interesting too, especially because when I think back to, I guess that would have been Thursday's games? No, Wednesday's games.
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday's games, we saw a lot of off-meta killers. I don't even know if we saw a nurse or a blight. I'm not surprised to see teams bringing out the spirit, though, to be honest. With some of the changes going on, it's preseason. It's like an extra added scrim, essentially, right? So why not bring out the spirit, kind of see how you're feeling? But I think Fractured Cowshed is going to be a map, especially once we get into the regular season. I think it's going to be a map that we won't typically see a lot of the meta killers. I'm sure we'll probably see the meta killers more saved for maps that they can, really exceed on, more of the McMillans, the Azerovs, right? So this may be a map where you see more of maybe the next three after the top three, or maybe even some of those like top B tier sort of killers, something that maybe seeing teams getting that practice in during the preseason here.
Yeah, definitely. It could be really interesting. And let's go ahead and review the stats on Fractured Cowshed, the temporary home map of We Overslept. So guys, as we go to Fractured Cowshed, come 1v1 me, by the way, we are looking at an 8 hook minimum, a 13 hook maximum, and it's got a pretty good size, average size area there, but it's the uniformity of the shape of the map that I like so much. It is completely a square map, no like weird legs or anything. So I like this map a lot, both for killer and for survivor.
Yeah, it's always nice when you have more of the open field sort of environment. You don't have like the choke points like you can see, like say on a Groaning Storehouse or an Azerov's resting place when you're heading into the top side or bottom side of the map and things like that, right? On here, instead it's just more open with the square. Yeah, you've got the cowshed itself to deal with, but otherwise it's a couple of tiles, here and there. I do like kind of working around the hay bales depending on what kind of luck you get with your RNG on some pallets, but offers a lot of different structures and things that can kind of be used together for some loops.
Indeed, indeed. And one thing to also note, you talked about maps with the choke point. The actual home map that we Overslept chose is Suffocation Pit. Talk about choke points. That's got a pretty good one. So yeah, definitely a little bit of an adjustment to not play on Suffo and instead be playing on Fractured Cowshed, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a big change up, especially too, because Suffocation Pit, sometimes you can be the beneficiary of some RNG, especially depending on where those gens spawn on the top side of the map. They're on Suffocation Pit, where more of your RNG as far as on this map is more about like which tiles I get in my filler areas, right?
Right. I would have to agree. And we are looking at having our survivors start to ready up here. We see one readied up survivor. I think we're getting close. And Q, if you had to guess who Monarchy is going to bring for this first trial as a killer, who are you bringing?
Well, let's walk through who I am not bringing. How about let's do that? I'm not bringing I'm not bringing a Blight. I don't think, Blight seems to have some problems on the corn map just because in the middle there's not normally a lot of stuff for collision, although not so much on this map, say, as compared to some of the other corns, right? This would be a fun map to maybe see like a Huntress come out on. Maybe even see a Doctor come out on, so you can at least get some identification as far as where your next move is. Your shocks, your static blast, I should say, after your hooks and things like that. Although I would really like to maybe even see a Hillbilly come out, just because I love to watch good Hillbilly gameplay.
Yeah, I think this is a really good map for Hillbilly, as well as I've actually seen Huntress do really well on this map too. A lot of those like hay bales and things, you talk about those. Those are lower tiles that Huntress can still really take advantage of. So I like the chances of seeing like a ranged killer like that. Really a lot of good options on this map for killer.
No, go ahead. Finish what you're saying. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. I don't think you see a lot of the S tiers though on this map necessarily. I'm not foreseeing a lot of Nurse. I'm not foreseeing a lot of, like we said, not really one you would bring Blight on. I could see Spirit here, but maybe not. So maybe expect a Spirit. What do you think about a demo?
I love the idea of a demo, especially as we've got the days counting down until he is no longer available. Might as well get some showing out of him. But you also, the demo dog does have some ability, especially with the traps being placed the right way. You can give yourself a really good ability to check up on multiple gens. One thing I wanted to ask you, though, I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen, or at least as far as my knowledge, we haven't seen in the preseason, people trying to figure out Deathslinger.
Interestingly enough, I feel like, and part of this is like, I've been trying to prepare my team for this game, right? Like, if you guys know, I'm a captain for We Overslept, Survivor captain, and I fulfill more of a coaching role. So like, I end up like watching practices and things, and we looked at Deathslinger. Since that nerf, Deathslinger is a lot harder to be able to capitalize on, just because you're animation locked when you start trying to quick scope. You can't really quick scope anymore. It's really easy for competitive survivors to take advantage of that. There's a lot higher skill ceiling, so you have to be a really confident Deathslinger if you're going to bring him now.
Yeah, indeed, and especially when you're playing in a situation like this, where like it's not like where in some competitive like environments we see like maybe you pick a Deathslinger because you're somewhat confident on the Deathslinger, but you feel like they're less confident on the other side. Like you can't force the hand of the other team by who you're picking. You know what I mean? Right. I do kind of like, though, one thing I will say as far as with the Deathslinger, since it's the ability to kind of zone people a little bit more, since you have the aim down sight speed. But for anybody saying that it can't be done, I mean, I've still seen Wispy 4K on a competitive scenes with Death Slingers. I mean, it can be done. I would like to. I would like to see more people busting out some Slinger because I feel like he's been not getting enough love lately. Or my humongous humorous friend. It would be the other one, which would be the clown. That's also
the clown. My lord. Yeah, let's go ahead and review these killer rules, but I kind of agree. All right, guys, so our killers are scoring via those hook states, of course. So first and second hook being 1 and 2 points, respectively. The third hook being worth 3 points. Progressions are worth 1 less. If you get to a 7th and 8th progression because you're a slug god, you get 1 point each for those. If you get a 4K, that's going to be worth 2 more points there. And if you get an entity kill, like in endgame collapse, it's the corresponding hook plus the progressions, which is great. So guys, that's 30 points available to the killers. Bleed outs aren't worth any points, so make sure you hook those valuable survivors. Don't leave them on the ground. And if you want to know more about these rules, please type !rules in the chat. And we are just about underway, and I think you talked about Wispy being Deathslinger. It's quite interesting. She is confident enough that I think it works, right? But like I said, the skill ceiling is higher. If you are not a super confident Deathslinger, you're not bringing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So I'm excited. I mean, now we're loading in. Now we get to see potentially who we could be looking at. We've got our players loading in, and well, I gotta say that we were both wrong. That's not. I don't want to say that doesn't happen often because I don't want to sound too cocky. But we see the Blight coming out here. Of course, we're going to see the Corrupt Intervention, which is going to be played pretty consistently throughout competitive Dead by Daylight, right? Ooh, able to get the hit through the pallet, though. We will be able to see the pallet break there. And you will also notice here we're going to get a little bit of aura help from that compound here. Pretty common duo. If you don't go with this double speed add-ons, it does seem you usually go with the green speed with the compound here. And that's going to help with this very quick down.
Indeed, that was definitely a pretty short chase there, and really a nice flick from the Blight there to get that hit around that corner. Definitely Lonely Moth going ahead and showing us early, hey, I know what I'm doing with Blight. I brought Blight for a reason. You guys said it's a bad pick, but I got you. Making sure to collide with the tree in the middle also, so definitely showing us Blight's still viable on this map.
Yeah, and we are going to see here, we've got some scratch marks that we've been able to track down into the jungle gym here, now moving towards the actual cowshed itself. At this point, wouldn't be surprised to see Lonely Moth, yeah, go ahead and break chase, head back towards the hook, figuring that there is somebody heading that way, right? Now you are going to see here, able to locate and still be right. Oh, yep, still pretty close to our injured survivor here. Going to be getting a little bit of that compound information there. Not quite able to count out the BT just quite to where you wanted to. Able to continue this chase here just a little bit. That's going to be the ruin broken across the way. Good job by our first survivor squad. Oh, nice little flick through the window. And that is going to be hook number 2, unless we might potentially be looking at a D-strike play right off the bat, and we are not, and that is 2 hooks for only 1 generator complete.
Yeah, definitely. So Blight does have some early pressure here, but did lose Ruin, so definitely still anybody's game at this point, but really good showing from the Blight to go ahead and have that map awareness to go back to the hook and be able to pressure that early down. Finding another survivor here. This is another chase early, keeping somebody off the gen.
Yeah, and this is going to be good, too, because you're close to the hook here. That way, when somebody does come in for the save, you're able to apply the injured status onto the Cheryl here. Seems like it would be a pretty easy decision, yep, to go ahead and continue the tunnel here. Going to potentially be able to get the hit before the pallet. You are able to use the body block, though, at the pallet. That's going to be really huge. That's going to be a big down. And unless, for some reason, they were saving the D-strike for a second pickup, that is going to result in a tunnel out here at only 1 generator complete, and everybody who plays this game, even if not on a competitive level, knows that as soon as this thing turns to a 3v1, the game changes completely.
It does indeed, and with there being 4 gens left, that is a lot of pressure on these survivors. So definitely I will be very intrigued to see how they react to this. We do have an injured survivor here too, so was that a dead heart? It appeared to be.
Yeah, actually a really good dead heart too, and kind of timed it out well because it almost looked like maybe you had caught them almost falling asleep on the corner there, right? Maybe not being completely aware and instead being able to bait out the swing. Not quite able to make it to the pallet space here though, unfortunately, and that is going to be a fresh hook here. And now at this point, with the when it's the 3v1, the hook process is tougher, right? Because once you start chase with the next person, literally the only person that is left in the trial now has to come in for the save. And now you've even got a little bit of extra information as to where people are. But we are going to see Lonely Moth come back here and apply a kick to this generator. We're going to see those orange sparks, and the pop goes the weasel is going to regress that gen back 25%.
Yeah, indeed. And we do see, it looks like our Blight is going to maybe pressure the main building, worried about the gen spread of where things are. And we see a Deliverance play. So what we appeared to think was some hook pressure for the Blight was not. And so those other survivors we know at this point probably were able to still stay on gen and be A-okay.
Yeah, you have to imagine here, though, with the Deliverance. Yeah, Chef slaps them with the D, baby. Tells them drop it. And that also allows the team, as you see across the way, to be able to get a second or a third generator done. And you can't help but imagine that if our team's been split, ooh, nice little
dead hard
push into the body
killer?
block. Yeah, dead hard into the body there. And that was really nice. Now you're going to continue this chase here at Shack. The only worry, though, is there is a basement here.
Indeed, indeed. It's always here. Oh, a little miss there by the Blight, and Shep extends chase further. Oh no, but playing with the red light is the Blight and able to go ahead get another hook. But I do want to note, Shep was able to extend that chase long enough that we do see another gen pop. So there are only 2 gens left. These survivors are doing a good job of getting the hooks out, or getting the gens out, but there's definitely still a good amount of pressure on them.
Yeah, good amount of pressure here, especially because you notice kind of as Lonely Moth looks around, you are basically, your survivor is right smack dab. I know a lot of people would not call this a 4-gen, but it's a Blight, right? He can cover this 4-gen area pretty efficiently. We did see that repressed alliance across the way, so instead Lonely Moth comes back this way looking for another survivor, does find the Leon, does get a health state injured here. Now this is going to be pretty big because now you can come back this way, and especially if you can injure the fully healthy survivor, you can maximize your Thanatophobia value. But instead the dead hard on the Cheryl, able to build a little bit of distance, unfortunately running into nice little spin cycle though, but still getting down before able to get through the window here. And that should spell a GG for Shep here. Now moving this to a 2v1, and you gotta be hoping for the survivors here that maybe, just maybe, you've bought yourself just enough time to get a 4th generator done.
Yeah, and I don't think this gen, I think, is the one that had the most progress, and we see it getting the pop goes the weasel. I don't think that other gen had enough progress on it for it to pop, and as we hear, it is not close enough. So we do have several gens with some amount of progress on there, but not enough for our survivors to be popping gens yet.
Yeah, and especially now, you know, Lonely Moth's going to have the ability to just basically run from gen to gen, check up on the status, see if they've been worked on by the survivors, making the way over towards this way. We do see, I do believe that is the Yunjin Lee coming in, able to do a nice little juke, able to avoid the hit there. Now moving towards the actual, I was going to say the shed itself. Yeah, going towards the shed. Ooh! Oh! He's done stupid! Plus 10 wood to the face, the Lonely Moth. Now I'm going to be able to use this time. I thought to build a little bit of distance, but at the same time, kind of not surprised to see them stick around this area, because that does mean that Lonely Moth is currently nowhere near any generators that could be being worked on by our last survivor.
Yeah, I do want to note though, look at Lonely Moth's, like, the control with Blight is pretty insane right here. Like the ability to weave around, still get that hit, that is amazing. You love to see it.
Yeah, definitely really flexing a really good handle of the blight here. And you would have to imagine now coming back, checking in on these other gens. Ooh, we've actually got quite a bit of progress on this gen right there. Ooh, getting stuck just a little bit, trying to go for a slide around the corner. But now at least you're going to be able to apply a pop on, or not a pop, but a kick onto this generator here. This is kind of what you were hoping to do, though. If you're the survivors, you're noticing that it is the two furthest gens apart from one another that are being worked on here. Ooh, oh, I thought I was going to be able to
Oh,
make the flick around the corner. Nice little play here by Yunjin. Lee should be able to continue holding this chase here. Should be able to make it to this pallet. Now, if you are able to retreat back into the shed, that should give your survivor that is across the map working on one of those generators. Both were at about a third piston starting to move quite a bit, so like 60, maybe almost 70%. So we should be seeing generator number 4 being exchanged for a hook state here.
yeah, indeed. And that still does put, oh, wow, that hook's actually gone. So there's quite a bit of walking this blight has to do as well. But knowing where that gen popped, and knowing Compound 21, this kind of is interesting. The hope would have to be that the survivors have called out that he has Compound 21.
Yeah, we see the blight has come across here, and since they have no aura readings, you will notice, right, that they, oh, I thought they were going to check that locker, but they didn't. Kind of interesting here. Now making the way across here, you would have to imagine that maybe you're worried about a potential end game play here, because that would be a survivor that has not been hooked escaping if they're able to get out the door or through the hatch. So now it is going to be a play for the hatch with the elimination there. We do see Lonely Moth at this point now going to be trying the best that they can to head back towards the main building and see if maybe they can locate the hatch first.
Indeed, and this is definitely a race to the hatch, and we'll see who wins this, the survivor or the killer. And I think the killer has found the hatch first, unlucky for our survivor. But these doors are kind of spread, and I know this is a blight, so it doesn't mean a whole lot, but played right, we might see Fear the Dark Wolf go ahead and get out.
Yeah, I mean, you have a potential of making like a 20% play, and then you wait for the blight to go away, and then maybe do a full send the rest of the way. But what you see here is Lonely Moth is able to basically just patrol back and forth without very much movement, and we'll be able to see once those lights do start progressing. You can try and do kind of like the slow progress, see if you can at least maybe not be too loud, see if every time when Lonely Moth comes over, possibly just happens to have the lights behind the tree, right?
Yeah.
But otherwise, this looks like this is probably going to end in a 4K here for Lonely Moth.
Yeah, it does appear to be that way, but definitely one of the kind of great things about having Thompson House or any of these kind of maps like Fractured Cowshed, the sky being the color that it is makes it harder to see those lights. So it's possible that Lonely Moth misses the fact that the lights are actually ignited. And so we may see, actually, there it is, though. We do see the lights ignited. So does Lonely Moth. And that is going to result in pressuring here. Oh, man, there it is. There's the first hit there. We are going to see Lonely Moth go ahead and try to pressure this survivor. Looking for the jump. No jump.
Man, this is a bigger tile here, so we do see that Lonely Moth was able to at least zone out to the backside here, basically containing the survivor, or keeping them contained in this corner here, able to secure the down, able to get the pickup here with plenty of time left. Chad, I'm not sure what resolution you're watching this in, but that does indeed look like a 4K to me. Nice start to our matchup here for Lonely Moth. Gotta be loving coming out on your very first trial, first of 4, and coming out with a 4K and taking a nice little lead here.
Yeah, definitely. Benefit of the home team as well, though, being able to go ahead and kill the next 2 matches. So definitely still anybody's game, but a pretty dominant performance for sure. Looks like right now, if we're looking at the score properly, we're looking at about a 26-6 lead for Monarchy.
Yeah, but you did mention, though, right? Like, obviously, going into back-to-back killer rounds here, I think the big thing, and we've talked about this before here at Vigo's Court, if you come out and maybe don't have the survivor game that you're looking for necessarily in trial number 1, you got to make sure whoever comes out and plays your killer round here in trial number 2 doesn't overextend trying to like necessarily match, let's say, the 5K, the 5K, imagine the 4K at 5 gens complete, at sometimes maybe leaving extra slugs laying around, which would then mean you've potentially are going to lose any of the progress and any of the momentum that you have. So I think you come out in trial number 2 here, basically as if it's trial number 1, 0-0, and then you reassess the situation at halftime,
Yeah, I definitely, I would agree. And I don't know, the play there in the middle, where Luma ended up letting themselves die on hook. Do you think that goes differently if Fear the Dark Wolf gets the save there instead?
No, because at that point you're kind of in a very tough like point of no return. I mean, you had the 1 gen that was at about 60%. I think your hope was that while everything was going on, maybe you could locate the hatch and make an end game play. Unfortunately, you weren't going to locate a hatch that's literally right next to the hooked survivor, right?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe you get an unhook and then you are able to pull the aggro of the killer long enough to finish the gen across the way that needs about 35 seconds of gen work. Maybe you can pull that off and then you're making a play for the door. But I think it's easy for us to have that conversation when that hatch is not found. You know what I mean? Indeed.
So looks like we are getting our invite from our killer right now, which we'd love to see. And definitely, if you're We Overslept, you are looking, which I am We Overslept, but we are looking for a really good performance from our killer.
So you gonna give us any insight of what we might be expecting to see here?
You will see a killer.
Oh, I like it. All right.
Was that mysterious enough for you?
You know what? I was really hoping that you weren't going to be vague, but I mean, I should have done better, right?
Yeah.
No, I do like though, and we talked about it at the beginning of that trial. Even though maybe not necessarily the strongest blight map, I think it is kind of a statement to come out on a map like that and show that, hey, it doesn't matter what map we're playing on. If you have not seen us, expire our blight during the regular season, you just never know when we're going to bring them out. You know what 100%.
I mean? I agree with that. And hey, as much as I say that the preseason is the time to go ahead and experiment, right? It's also the time to go ahead and make a statement and go, hey, I'm putting the rest of the league on notice.
Yeah,
we can do this.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're talking about like, hey man, you've only at this point maybe seen any of these teams at least recently, like 3 matchups if you happen to catch all of their matchups through the preseason tournament, right? So
right.
This, for some people, this may be the first time they're seeing either of our teams here. And so when you come out and are able to make those statements, it's nice to kind of have people, I don't know if it's necessarily to like, it's too much to where it puts a target on your back, but it's nice enough that where it's like people are like, all right, they're here to play. So we know that when we see them come up on our schedule, we got to be prepared.
I definitely, I think that this could be really interesting, this trial for We Overslept. I know what killer is gonna be brought, right? And so I'm excited to see how it plays out. I think it is a good matchup for them. I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think we're bringing?
Oh, man, I don't know. I mean, I feel like this could be a good map for maybe some Huntress. And I feel like that's a nice little, like, let's use something different that's not like a meta killer. Maybe we see something completely off the wall. We saw earlier this week, we saw someone bring out a nemesis for the first time and have a very, very strong performance. I think that was a 4K if I remember right. Or maybe I would like to see some Pinhead, but if I had to guess, probably I feel like Huntress is a confident pick.
I won't confirm or deny whether or not that is the pick. Too early to tell, but I have an expectation for what's gonna be here, and I'm excited. I am excited for what we're gonna see here. But yeah, I see the chat saying Legion. Who knows? You could be right.
Legion, huh?
Legion.
I mean, at least Legion's no longer like super bugged like they were like, a month and a half back.
Right? Yeah, it looks like chat saying Legion, Bubba, man, or Trapper. It could be. I can't deny.
I'm going to be excited to see when Trapper does come out, though, as we move into the regular season with the recent changes to his kit. I feel like Trapper was one of those killers that for a while you just didn't really see in comp, right? And part of that is because he takes some setup time, and I'm not sure if by having the change in his base kit it quite gives you enough to make it to where you're consistently able to have that setup time. I'm not sure on that, but I feel like it adds a new aspect to the game because you don't always necessarily, especially as people find some, little cheesy places to leave those traps as the killer.
Yeah. And I think on any of the corn maps, Trapper is actually kind of dangerous because you run through the corn not expecting it, and a very well-placed trap can go ahead and cause you some grief for sure. But definitely our survivors are ready to go. Our killer is good to go as well. So we should be starting at any moment here. And yeah, as I say that, they are starting up. So we'll go ahead and stay here, wait for the offerings there. And then we'll see how can these survivors go ahead and try to extend their lead for Monarchy. With the 20-point lead, they are looking to try to extend it and put it away. Meanwhile, We Overslept is going to go ahead and try to get the 4K and bring it right back for themselves.
Yeah, I think the big thing that we will see here from Monarchy is going to be a lot of patient play. The ball is kind of in your court, right? Like you don't have to rush out the door necessarily. And it's not like you're in a position where you just saw, your killer struggle a little bit and had them get like a 1K at 4 or 5 hooks,
Right. And so we will see that like they are trying to score via those gens, first and second gen being 1 and 2 point, or 1 point, the third and fourth gen being 2 points, fifth gen being 3 points. But then those escapes, like you said, are what are important for a lot of points there. So they will be looking to not take that many hooks. They have a point total of 26 points they can score. So we'll see how they do here, and we're going to go ahead and spawn right in, get started. And we are seeing an Oni-chan.
Oni-chan, I like this. We also saw an Oni in the what matchup that was that was on Batum Preschool. We saw a very dominant performance from the Oni here. Of course, Oni does tend to need a little bit of help sometimes in the early game getting the ball rolling, as far as they need the survivors to make a mistake there, right? One thing that is interesting and noteworthy is even with Oni-chan being a killer that typically kind of struggles in the early game, interesting to see the strategy come out of no corrupt intervention.
Yeah, definitely. There is no corrupt, and so gotta wonder, what are they bringing to slow down, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're probably bringing something to kind of help along there. I'm sure we'll probably be able to call those out as we see them. We are going to see the first one there as the generator number 1 gets complete. Our survivors should be able to call out that deadlock, or as long as the Nia is in communications, which they should be in DVD competitive, right? They now know that that's at least one of the perks there. Ooh, plus 10 wood to the face twice. And we're still looking here and have yet to secure, not only not haven't you secured a hook state, but you haven't even been able to change a health state yet, which means you haven't been able to start snowballing as far as building up pressure for your power. And right now, Luma's definitely got to be feeling some of that pressure, right?
Yeah, I would have to agree because one gen's already gone. You do still have some pressure with that deadlock, of course. Survivors can't go ahead and just keep just going on those gens, slowing down a little bit, but that's still only 30 seconds, and these chases are lasting a little bit of time. So for sure, Luma's got to be feeling a little bit of pressure at least. And we do hear a totem fall in the background. Gotta wonder what that was.
Yeah, we are going to see a second generator getting done across the way as well. That's actually going to be that one that was in the middle, the one that was furthest progressed after the first one popped there. So at this point here, now going to be collecting up the orbs there. That way we can move towards possibly potentially using that power. Not sure if I would use it here quite yet. Maybe you can secure it down and then save your power to be able to compound that pressure on or off the hook. But we do see here yet another plus 10 wood to the face here. And Luma taking a lot of resources out of the way, though, is at least the good news.
Indeed. And going ahead, popping power here, are we going to continue to chase this survivor is the question. We do continue to chase this survivor. And then looks like we're going to go try to get another survivor that may have just finished here on another generator.
Yeah, this is pretty tough. Definitely going to be feeling the pressure here. Does look like we have now found our way back towards Nia, but oh, gets done stupid. Plus 10 wood to the face again. Luma getting concussed out here after taking pallet after pallet to the face. Now working the TNL wall, trying to use the power, running at about 30% left of that time, being able to use the demon dash here for the one shot down. Not quite able to pull the flick off here at the T-wall. Now going to be moving back over, continuing to follow these scratch marks, now moving into the jungle gym. And does look like our Claudette here now going to be moving towards the cowshed. Not going to be able to get out of the way in time. And just before losing the power, that is going to be a down by Luma. And maybe Luma can use this to maybe just compound a little bit of extra pressure depending on how altruistic our team decides to play here.
Indeed. And if you noticed, another gen did pop in the background. We didn't hear the sound to it, but it did pop right there. So for sure, our survivors have done a really good job of pressuring several of these. But chasing that Nia around as long as we did, there are a lot of blood orbs around here that it looks like our Oni's going to go ahead and try to capitalize on.
Yeah, we do see there now applying the kick, instantly regressing that thing back there, getting a little bit of help. You do also notice down in the bottom left-hand corner, we are now back ready to use our power here. The only problem is we've now got another generator. We need to kick. That thing's got a lot of progress on it, and we have already utilized our pop kick. That's going to be very, very unfortunate. Now, though, we do see Luma gets very, very angry, starts the demon dash through the jungle gym here, not quite able to navigate through. We do see our survivor taking the window back through. Now doing the smart play here, Luma opting to come back towards the shack, figuring that we have a survivor over here. We do see some scratch marks. We also see some blood. However, I think we also have a survivor still in there. Yep, you can hear him unfortunately missed the skill check. I thought I had heard them clicking and clacking in there, working on that generator. Oh, able to get that down here though. At least able to apply that. Can't help but imagine, though, that you're going to go ahead and use the last little bit of time in your power here to try and secure a second down. Coming back over here to the shack. Going to see if you can maybe wrap around. We've got Luma now coming all the way around now, heading towards, it looks like that's the Claudette here, unless maybe there is also a Nia around, but I do believe it is just the... No, that is the Nia.
It is the Nia, and I think we got auto-aimed.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, definitely. Our survivors are doing a really good job of keeping pressure here. It does look like we have our ace over there as well. But did you notice they picked Nancy up? And they already have Nancy back to full health. So the pressure you thought you got by going ahead and downing is gone now. And so this is looking pretty disastrous for our Oni right now. Going to go ahead and have these survivors able to try to pressure those doors.
Yeah, you know, now you've got those doors open. You do have a survivor right by this one here, at least, so you can at least oversee this one here a little bit. Now able to start picking up those blood orbs, but can't help but imagine that there has been some communication amongst our survivor team here, and the remaining 3 survivors are across the way working on that door there, because even the 3 out, you know, instead of the 4 out would be huge, but I still think you might even be able to make a play for a 4 out. You do now see Nia moving towards this door. You can't help but imagine that you probably have somebody setting up for a body block. You've got Ace now moving in, but I do not think the Ace should be able to set this up. We've got the door opening, but now we have Luma once again very, very angry with a very, very big bat, and he's running after the Nia, and that is going to be a down on the Nia there. However, the question is, do our survivors decide to opt for the 3 out at this point, or do they still try to be altruistic, maybe potentially sacrificing some more hook points? They do already have a lead, so might understand why they would play a little bit more aggressive here. But now at this point, you do see Luma opting for the pickup and is now going to move this hooked survivor as far away from the door as possible.
Yeah, indeed. And going ahead, getting the hook there. I think we won't see our Oni try to leave here, most likely, and so we will probably see a 3 out from our survivors. But if they're confident enough, who knows?
Nope, yeah, we see them taking the 3 out there. Definitely the easy decision for Hook States is all you surrendered. Might as well take the points, go home, or not, I wouldn't say go home, but go back into the lobby, get set up, ready to run it back another round with the survivors here. And after a strong performance like that, possibly having the ability to end things early if they come out and duplicate that performance in trial number 3.
Indeed. Definitely, We Overslept is at risk of not being able to play a 4th trial. So for sure, gonna have to see a strong showing from our killer here in the next round.
Yeah, you know, you can see right down there at the bottom, looking at a score right now of 45-13. Now, at the risk of feeling like I am asking you to coach your team through the broadcast, if you're in a situation like this as the survivors, right?
Yeah.
What is the like what are some of the conversations that you're having right now heading back in? Like, are you trying to, like, are you in your killer's ear right now, like hyping him up? Or are you kind of like, yo, let's leave him be, let's let him stay in his zone and like let him do him? Or what, like, what's the thought process?
Definitely, if I was in there right now talking to my killer, I would be telling him, hey, it's all right, stay calm. We definitely need like, you have to stay composed if you're going to perform well, especially as killer. That is what causes a lot of mistakes on killer side. If you get flustered, I do feel like we got a little flustered that last round. We took a lot of hits to the face with the pallets, and definitely as Oni, you got to expect the pre-drops, right? Nobody wants to take those early hits and feed into power, so expect the pre-drop. Don't take the stun, just break the pallet after, and definitely can super help there, right?
Yeah, agreed. So, you know, I'm going to be interested also and now again, I don't want you to feel like you're talking to the team that's playing against your team, right? But if you're the survivors, right now you're up 45-13. Is there if you're the team captain, is there a discussion that you have to have with the rest of your team to like make sure everyone's focus is on point with a lead like this? Or?
Oh, yes. What you're telling your team right now is don't take unnecessary hits. What you're telling your team right now is leave those gens as early as possible. Don't give any shot at getting chased. Like, just go ahead. You hear terror radius, you're gone.
Right. Okay, I feel it. You know what's going to be, it's interesting, right? Because we're in preseason, so it'd be easy enough to if we overslept here to go, you know what? We lost. It's fine. But I think it's really important here that, especially if you can not only come out with a strong performance on the killer side, but at least earn your survivors the opportunity to come out and have a chance to win in trial number 4. That's like an extra rep that you get to give your team in a live game environment, right?
100%, and definitely an opportunity that I can say as captain of We Overslept, we definitely want to have. So I am excited to see Maelstrom play killer here and see if Maelstrom can bring it right back in for We Overslept.
So who do you think the killer is going to be?
You know, the killer is going to be somebody that is not below a C tier.
Oh, I like it. Okay, so basically not Mikey.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it. Again, I was really hoping you weren't going to be vague, so I'm glad I asked such a open-ended question there. We do see, though, it does look like our survivors starting to ready up. You always love to see it when your competitors come in and are moving at a good pace, you know, as somebody who kind of works in a couple of different competitive scenes. Sometimes when you see where sometimes there's the breaks in between trials, it's not always on the production staff. And it's nice to see here at Vigos from all of our teams thus far. They've all been really good with kind of moving the process along in between trials.
Yeah, indeed. And I just realized I said indeed again. I don't know if you guys saw the match earlier, but there were people asking for us to add a command for how many times I say indeed. Q, do you notice I say it a lot?
Wait, you said say indeed a lot?
Yeah, I didn't realize that. You didn't? Did you notice that?
Would have never picked up on it. That's a new one on me.
Indeed, right? I had to say it right there. I had to, but definitely, I actually lost a bet for some channel points. The everybody who participated was able to earn more channel points because I myself said indeed before the stream ended, knowing that that's what the prediction was for. I saw it and I'm like, I'm not gonna say that word. Still said it anyway.
You did it anyways. Yeah,
100%.
happens, man. I mean, I feel it that we all have filler words that we use. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. You're still here. You're kicking with me, and we're doing an awesome job. First off, enjoying some awesome gameplay from these two teams here on both sides. So hats off to these guys. We are heading into trial number 3 here. Again, we've got a 32 point differential here. So definitely going to be requiring a lot here from our team.
Yeah, definitely. And to review like what they can and can't have, there can only be 2 BTs, but the rest of the perks can only have 1 of each, but there are banned perks. We won't see any Haunted Ground, Prove Thyself, or Starstruck here. Also, the characters can only be 1 of each character, and the killer uses will be limited in the actual regular season, but in preseason not so much. But we're gonna go ahead and get started on this match. All right, so let's go ahead and go. And what we'll notice here is that we are indeed seeing a Huntress.
We are seeing the Huntress come out, the one that I called for trial number 1, just for the record, Chan. Just so we're, hey, yo. But we do see here, you will notice when you are looking around, of course, that Corrupt Intervention. That is going to be a perk that you are going to see most of the time in competitive DBD, because, of course, with 4 survivors that are as, familiar with the game, we'll call it adept, skilled at the game, right? You don't want to give them access to all 7 generators right off the bat. Now we do see we are going to opt for a secondary chase here instead of going into the actual shed itself. Unfortunately, missing the hatchet through the window. The big thing here for Maelstrom is how quick can you get your first down in order to try and start surmounting this comeback.
Yeah, definitely. And we hear a totem fall in the distance as well, which is not super great for our killer here. But getting that hit around the corner, if you guys didn't know already, those hitboxes actually lag a little bit behind the survivor. So while a survivor's taking a corner, you can get a cheeky little hit. Woo! And seeing Nancy go down does bode well for Huntress here pretty early on before any gens fall.
Oh, I thought he had just happened to hit the Achilles heel, and that made sense to me why there was a change in the health state. I guess I didn't realize that it was behind the hit, but no. But we do see, yeah, a very early hit here, which is going to be big here because now you kind of are in this side. You've got your hook. I don't want to say in the middle of the No, actually, yeah, that's pretty well right in the middle of your uncorrupt gens. Unfortunately, corrupt intervention is only going to last here for about another, not even 15 seconds, maybe 8 seconds at this point. Then the rest of the map does come into play, but you have a nice little generator setup that you can protect while also protecting the hook here. Coming in, able to find the Claudette. Ooh, nice first throw there with the hatchet. Second one from distance, not able to make a connection onto the Claudette. We do see that is the save coming in across the way here. Now going to be big to try and continue this chase as long as possible. We're going to see the Scott Juntress move there, holding the hatchet there, trying to be able to zone out the survivor, but instead hitting the side, not going to be able to hit the survivor. Really good looping here actually by the Claudette.
Indeed, I would have to agree. And oh, pulling the hatchet out now. Getting hit by the hay though.
Yeah, we do see a really strong loop, and now we do see at this point with the pallet break, Claudette is going to break away, nicely able to make it to the pallet space. You are going to see Maelstrom here going to break this pallet. Now if Claudette is smart, is going to now run away from the area and try and keep this Huntress as far away from the lockers as possible. Because if you've been keeping track, you know that at this point, our Huntress has no more of those. We have generator number 2 getting popped across the way, and you can't help but imagine that, ooh, with the rate that these generators are getting done, that there is probably a split pressure, meaning that you're going to have another generator, maybe even you have at least another generator probably getting done here in the next like 30 seconds.
Yeah, how unlucky was that though for the survivor, trying to see if they could see what if they could heal a Claudette or what side Claudette was on, jumping across into a hit there. But the survivors do have 3 gens already popped, and there's only 2 hook states right now for our killer here. So the survivors still are feeling pretty good about where they're at.
Yeah, I do believe that was an attempt at a CJ tech, possibly even there, but it did look like a little bit of awareness from our killer Maelstrom stepping back just a little bit, allowing the vault to come across, then applying the health state change there. We do see though the reset coming in across the way onto the Nia. And one thing I want you to notice as Maelstrom continues to look around is our survivors have done a very, very good job of our gen spread. Only 2 generators over here on this corner of the map where the hook is. And then really you have 2 generators on the opposite quadrant as well. So at this point, you could have your 3 survivors split on your last 2 gens.
Indeed, and I think that's what you actually are seeing here. Nobody over there going for save. Huntress kind of paranoid about the save happening, seeing the save happen, getting blocked by the hay there, trying to get a good prediction throw there, but it was not meant to be right there.
And we do see now Claudette coming back towards the shack here. It looked like we had a body block potentially setting up, but instead now it's just Claudette all by herself at the shack, and this is going to be an important loop here because we also have a basement here at the shack.
Indeed, and we are seeing our survivor go ahead and try to keep that loop around the shack, which is away from all 4 gens, so it's very smart to try to keep the pressure there. Now our Huntress will go ahead and drop chase to try to pressure everything else.
Oh my goodness. Really, really good pressure here from our survivors all together. You're seeing now a 5th gen getting done across the, well, I shouldn't say across the way, I was pretty much right in front of the killer's ace here, but that is now going to be a down 2 consecutive hatchets. That is, however, a fresh hook state, meaning that we are far from getting those important 2 and 3 point hook states by trying to remove a player from the trial. You see a proc across the way. That is going to be that no way out. We do have 3 stacks there, so you are going to add a little bit of time here. But I would imagine being so close to a door, you don't want someone slipping in the backside here and starting to work on this door while you're pushing somebody off the other one.
I would agree, and definitely with it being Huntress, you can always fling a nice little hatchet over there, see if you can get a cheeky little hit as soon as that no way out drops. But you might go ahead and just try to pressure to second state here. Definitely knowing that we have Oak, Haft, and Babushka, you are going to try to stay here and make sure nobody gets this unhook.
Yeah, and we do see now at this point the no way out has expired. Now the question is, do we? Oh, that's a really quick save actually coming in on the backside, giggity. So now we do see though we've got a. Is this the Nia or not the Nia? Is this the Nancy that's back here? Nope, it is actually the Nia. The Nia now being located, trying to do the best they can. I would imagine trying to pull aggro away from the door so you can have somebody working towards the door. Ooh, swing and miss, nice dead hard. However, that is going to be all she wrote. Not enough time for anyone to really start working pressure onto this door, but can't help but imagine that the door across the way at this point is just about 99, if not already at that point now.
Yeah, I would agree, and it looks like we got a loud noise notification on the other side near the door. You got to think that's maybe them throwing a pallet or something else. Can't imagine it's anything else. We do see the gates get open though, and we do see one escape happening fairly quickly. 2 more escapes happening as well. So this one survivor is the only survivor left at this point.
Yeah, and you see here, Maelstrom was waiting it out here, making sure you didn't have to worry about the decisive strike. Did go with the pickup a little bit early. However, no D to worry about being dropped today. That is going to be a 1K here with 4 hook states and a progression as well. Maybe not quite what you're looking for here, but honestly, at the same time, I mean, 5 hook states on a Huntress is just about kind of what you're expecting to see, right?
Yeah, I think you're looking for 6. You're looking at 6 states and hopefully a 2K generally. But that will go ahead and lock out this match. The match will end here. Congratulations to Monarchy as you are convicted of murder. So for sure, like that's a pretty crazy match right there. Definitely, I do want to note, it looks like Maelstrom brought Blood Warden. So I think if we weren't waiting out that DS there, that actually could have been kind of interesting to see, you know? I think it sounds like the teams are conversing right now. Maybe they want to do the 4th one anyway. Let's check with them.
Sometimes it's nice to get like yourself like a little extra scrim. It's like an extra live run through, right? It's kind of like a scrim. I mean, essentially is a scrim, but it's nice to get yourself some extra reps here, especially because, you know, this is going to be a map that these teams may potentially have to see. We know this isn't the home team preferably, right? But we may see that, you know, depending on how long the desync issues happen to last. You know, maybe we happen to see it come back up again, being used as a secondary home field. So why not get some extra reps on it, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it does sound like that's what we are going to have happen for sure. So we will wait for the invite from the killer here on the lobby, and we will check. But yeah, definitely that Blood Warden play, I was hoping to see the hook happen and kind of lock the survivors out, because you know all 3 of them were at that other gate. If you could lock it out with Blood Warden and then pressure going that side, you may end up seeing maybe a 2K at that point, right?
Yeah, kind of interesting to see, knowing that you had the Blood Warden not seeing you at least opt to maybe try and move and go for the pickup there, risk the DS, right? Make sure you're full on your hatches. That way, even if you do get slapped with the D, you can just chuck a hatch at them and hit them upside the head and put them right back up on the ground. So maybe something that we'll see that, you know, that's what the good thing about competitive games, right? Sometimes you take an L, but as long as you can take a lesson from it as well, it's going to help you be more prepared for that type of situation in the future.
Indeed. And I've been taking notes definitely, because I will bring these notes into the next practice. Let me tell you, definitely for We Overslept, came out, showed some things. And we'll definitely be working in practice to make sure that we are here and ready for the regular season.
Yeah, and speaking of that regular season, at this point, we are, what, like 10, 12 days away from that kicking off?
Dude, yeah, we only got one more week of preseason. Can you imagine that?
That's pretty crazy, huh?
It is pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. So for sure, let's go ahead and let's see this fun matchup here. This extra little scrim. Are you ready? Are you ready for this?
I'm ready for this. Now, here's the question for you.
Yeah.
Knowing the condition that the match is already over, is this maybe where you see Monarchy take a opportunity here to try something new on an M1 killer, maybe see an Oni come out, or, you know, a clown, or something that maybe, you know, is it a blight spirit nurse sort of deal?
I think so. I think for sure. Or a person on your team who hasn't played killer very much that you want to get some killer experience. I think you
like
also
a backup killer you might have, or something
you might have them play as well. Oh shoot, I'm in the wrong spot here. Definitely, let me see. There we go. And now that I'm out of the spot, Chef was able to invite our other survivor here. We have Tai Hikaru in here ready to play. So definitely, it should be interesting to see. I think as survivors, maybe you try some builds that you haven't tried before. Definitely, I know on my team we have several different loadouts of builds that we can run. So be interesting to see what they decide to go ahead and run.
Yeah,
or if they bring something completely new that we haven't run in practice before. Maybe. I don't know. Can't say.
Well, I mean, this would be a point here, right, where you can kind of come in, especially as the survivors, and I think at least maybe after coming out and not having the performance that you were potentially hoping for in the first trial, maybe now you can kind of come out and make sure that the biggest thing that you're focusing on is your communication, your rotations, and making sure that we're ironing out those things, again, knowing that we have only one more week of preseason left.
Indeed. Yeah, with only one more week of preseason left, you gotta get that stuff ironed out now. And I know definitely for We Overslept, we've added to our roster. We've been working on making sure that we are completely ready for this next season. We still got work to do, as we saw today, but we'll get there. And if you're Monarchy, you got to be feeling pretty good about where you're at right now, because you performed very well today.
Yeah, I mean, you had yourself a nice little showing here, and now you got yourself a chance to get yourself in a couple. Again, I think what I am really excited for, especially now, is knowing that the killer is going to be able to come out and almost like play free and loose. And again, I'm hoping to see something spicy. We saw Nemesis come out. I think that was Wednesday. We've seen a couple Onis. We've seen a couple of our other off-meta killers. I know y'all saw some twins earlier today when I was watching. So maybe this is the time for Cenobite to come out.
Maybe. Go ahead and try. I don't know. It's kind of that could go either way. I think think you go ahead and you try another killer that you maybe don't have in your arsenal yet, like maybe a nemesis or something, but you're wanting to bring it more, right? Cenobite right now, the verdict is still not out on whether or not he'll be allowed in league play. So I think you go ahead and you bring somebody who you know for sure will be allowed.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, I figured as he came out and showed that it was a nice, entertaining killer, that maybe, the people in the back might. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's actually a really good point there. Now, I did want to talk while we're waiting for the load in here. What are your thoughts on? Obviously, we have allowed Nemesis to come in. So, one, what's your thoughts on seeing Nemesis just being introduced into the comp play? What do you think are some things that teams are having to figure out? And then two, what would be your thoughts on the Cenobite being added into the competitive pool play?
I think he could be a really good killer. I think he's in the same tier as Nemesis. I don't think that he's like a really high A tier or like close to an S tier either. I think that he is. I think he'd solidly be like a B tier.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. See, I think that's where. Well, I shouldn't say I think that's where. It's definitely where we differentiate, because I think that's why I'm excited for seeing Cenobite entered into the play. One, because I feel like it's going to be one of those killers like we see with a lot of the hypermobility killers, the Nurse, the Blight, where it really stresses the communication skills of the survivors, right? Because the last thing that you need to happen over the course of a trial is a inopportune chain hunt. Starting at the wrong time, right?
I would agree
so that
with
means
that.
that means your communication has to be on point. Now you're having to make sure that when you do go to solve the configuration, your timing of when to go there is right, because you have to try and see if you can set yourself up to make the killer make a decision. Do I continue chasing the person that maybe I've already injured, or do I try and come over here and stop the person from solving the box? And I think things like that are the reasons why, like, I think for me, I'm excited to see the Cenobite get introduced. And I think, hot take, don't kill me, chat. I think as the Cenobite is introduced and played more, he's going to move up into that like first three after the top three.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that one, but maybe. But guys, definitely penalties here. Like, if you are bringing banned perks, there would be a -5 points and a possible restart. If it's the wrong map, -5 points auto restart. Definitely never harass a ref. That's a technical foul. -10 points per offense, no restart. So definitely there are ways to have penalties in here and take away points. You don't want it to happen. So definitely, I love that today we haven't had a penalty. I don't think in any of the matches today. So really good shout out to our teams for making sure that we don't have to give out penalties. We as league officials don't like doing it.
Yeah, especially when, sometimes it happens to force a restart and things like that, right? That can really change the pace of the game, because now all of a sudden you're kicking yourself back into the lobby, and now all of a sudden some fatigue, not some fatigue, but like just kind of that waiting game. Maybe you're icing down some players that are currently they're hot, they're feeling good. But interesting pick here we're seeing coming out. He doesn't have much more time to be available to be bought in the shop, but we see the demo doll coming out.
Indeed, demo popper, the Daisy Doge. Oh wow, look at that, that's alive, and we get away without getting hit here. Very good play. And if I'm not mistaken, that was very, very nice on the sliding across the pallet, making sure that the killer did not get a swing in.
Yeah, we saw that Life was indeed Life, able to make themselves make the distance to be able to basically loop that little jungle gym together there. Now we are going to see off in the distance, you see those covered gens. That's going to be from the corrupt intervention. However, you did notice that when we ran past that gen after we had pushed a survivor off it, that there were no sparks there, which means you don't have any help from Ruin this trial. Going to be working on some other perks here that we will be able to talk about here in a little bit. But we do see you have located a survivor in your corrupt portion of the map back here at the TNL. Going to try the best that you can to try and secure a couple couple of health state changes, maybe even be able to get yourself an early hook here, especially now seeing that our Fang is now moving into this long wall, taking the window here, now going to be forcing our demo dog to make a decision. The demo puppy is going to double back on the vault, is going to get the shred through the pallet space though, and that is a nice first down of the game.
Indeed, and I don't know if you guys noticed, there was some, wow, look at the spectator glitch right here. Definitely, there was some bamboozle action for our demo pupper.
Yeah, and that's always, I always like seeing the bamboozle come out, because then it really puts stress onto our survivors in those loops, especially in TNL or jungle gym sort of situations. Now we do see over here, you already have one gen gone. We also see a generator covered up here. You're going to notice when we run right next to it that generator is covered up while it has a lot of progress. That's going to be from the new Deadlock perk. And it's been really interesting seeing more teams opting to incorporate Deadlock into their builds for their killers.
Yeah, and I don't know how I feel about Deadlock, honestly, as a perk. I think, so, in my opinion, Deadlock it's not a great slowdown perk, because if I'm a survivor and a killer uses Deadlock on me, I'm just rotating to another gen and putting progress on it. I'm not waiting by that gen, looking to try to finish it out after the 30 seconds are up. I don't treat it like I treat a repressed alliance, because generally your killer's going to go that direction, and if that's drawing the killer in, then I'll go on another gen and go ahead and pressure it to put more progress on it. Just like what we're seeing right here. If you notice, another gen got finished and Deadlock got re-upped on the same gen there. And while it was re-upped on that gen, there's another gen that's close to 70%. Like that's what I'm doing as a survivor when I see that perk.
Yeah, you know, I think you bring up a really good point, because it seems like Deadlock offers a lot of RNG that you typically don't typically see killers trying to introduce, right? Because then you bring in some RNG. Maybe I'm actually about to come over here with a pop kick, but now it's covered and I can't. Now I'm stuck with an option. Do I stick around and wait to apply a pop kick here, or do I go ahead and chase another survivor and never get my pop kick? You know, or does it happen to if once teams start realizing that there is Deadlock, now teams are just 99ing gens and finishing them at the same time, so they don't worry about the Deadlock, right? Like, there's so much play around in RNG that it's, for me, really interesting to see that it's actually been used quite a bit, you know, in the competitive scene since people have started to use it.
Yeah, I would agree. And look at the 360 from Shep. Gonna go ahead and go down anyway because of that shred, but that's pretty good. And looks like our demo's standing still. Our demo's contemplating what happened there. Kind of interesting.
Sometimes you even impress yourself, you know, so you just have to sit there and go, you know what, that was a pretty nice hit. You just kind of have to celebrate. But we do see it able to locate Shep up onto the hook you go. That is going to be hook number 2 with 4 generators complete. Coming over here to the TNL, you are noticing some scratch marks, but they are all running away. And this is kind of tough because the far side of the map, as you can see in that corner, it has the gen that is just about to be uncovered by Deadlock, meaning it is the closest to being complete, which means that survivors are that much closer to being out the door. However, we do see that Shep was the survivor that had the deliverance. Oh, with the beautiful Dead Heart as well. Unfortunately, though, not able to locate the surroundings and helping out right in front of our demo dog. And that is going to be back down onto the ground you go. And it does look like they did switch the decisive strike holder this time, because I do believe it was Shep that had it in game number 1. And that is going to be hook number 3. And that is going to be the Noed getting cleansed there as well. This is a nice little game we're seeing put together by our survivors.
You know, and I don't know if it was a switch of the DS or if you're maybe saving DS, because that was only the second hook. Maybe you're saving it knowing that you might have to get hooked again. Who knows? This might be it here. It could be a bait and switch, right?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that too. That's actually a good point because you probably have your team across the way setting up the door. Here's the question. No.
Oh,
No, yeah,
no,
they just switched it.
indeed not. Either that or it was a missed decisive strike. That would be unfortunate, right?
Yeah, and that is going to spell a GG for Shep. That is also going to be a door opening across the way, 3 out the door, which does also spell a GG here. Of course, the decision was already decided before trial number 4, but we did see a very good performance by our survivors here. And I mean, to be honest, a pretty good performance by our demo puppy as well.
Indeed. Yeah, definitely good game all around. Definitely a lot better showing for our survivors than the first match, able to get the 3 out there. So really good for us to be able to use that to work on as well for We Overslept.
So at this point here, we are going to, I know you already convicted Monarchy of murder, but again, that is the result here. But I don't want you guys to think that that means the end of competitive DBD for this beautiful Saturday night, because we still have one more matchup, right?
Yes, we do. We do indeed. We have Arctic Wolves versus Hex Girls.
And that is going to be at 9 o'clock. Same bat time. Well, I shouldn't say same bat time, but it's going to be at 9 o'clock, same bat channel. You know where to find us. Before we get out of here, though, Vader, is there anything else you want to say?
You know, I'm gonna see. We might be bringing Keeperly or somebody in for some interviews. Somebody maybe. So I think we're checking on that. But while we check on that, today's match was exciting and it gave a lot of things for me to be looking at. You know, definitely. I haven't been playing competitive Dead by Daylight as much anymore because I'm commentating with you. I'm spending so much time with Q. I have no time to actually like practice myself, right? So
I don't know if I should be apologizing or
no. Don't apologize. Don't apologize. I love to be here. Right here. I love it. So yeah, for sure. I've been helping with just coaching aspect with We Overslept. So for sure gave me quite a bit for us to be working on, and it sounds like we do have a interview. Looking for confirmation from my Vigo's team. All right, so we do have an interview on the way, so that's good. So guys, we are looking at it being about 7 EST right now. It's about 7:10 EST. We will be back at 9 EST for the Arctic Wolves versus Hex Girls game. But definitely we've got a really good interview on the way in the interrogation room. And what did you think of the match, Q?
You know, I liked that I liked that we saw coming out from Monarchy off the rip, coming out with the Blight coming out and basically saying, hey, I know that this isn't a map that typically the Blight does well on, and come out and basically say, hey, if our Blight's still available, we have to use it. But I also like some of the things, you know, I like the confidence that we saw also from We Overslept in coming out with some of the more off meta killers, you know, having a decent performance with the Oni, having a good performance with the Huntress as well. It's definitely some things that they're going to be able to take home and work on before their next preseason game and the season itself. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I always love watching when that happens, when you make that jump and that decision to go ahead and put your foot forward and try something new, and then kind of see it progress and see how it grows from there.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm still waiting on our oh, hold on. I'm pulling in our interview, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's Lonely Moth, right?
It looks like it's Shiro, actually. And so I've pulled Shiro in, And Shiro, you should be able to go ahead and speak now.
Hello, good night, or good morning, I guess.
Well, hello.
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 Good evening for me. Here for me, I am Central Time Zone for all of those that don't know. So for me, it is 6:12 p.m. It's around dinner time.
So that was a very, very impressive performance that we got to see from your team there. I wanted to know what was kind of, we saw kind of some different strategies come out. Was that kind of like a you guys coming in and trying new strategies, or are these kind of things that you just want to make sure that you had ironed out before the start of the season?
So Moth is our main killer, and we, like, first match we wanted to go like seriously, like play with our best killer. So like we went with a S tier killer basically with Blight, and then after seeing the great performance by him, we went like full like sweaty mode on our first survivor match.
Right.
And then for their second match we expected the nurse or some S tier. So when we saw a Huntress, we relaxed a bit, so we gave up more hooks than we should have, but the counters performed great as well. So like by the late game, when the match ended, we decided instead of going with our main killer, we went with like one of our secondary killers to let him practice against them basically.
And it had a pretty good performance, I gotta say, there in the end too, still, right?
Yeah, like he like, well, we were laughing because he got spun multiple times, but yeah.
So I wanted to ask, right? So when you see a killer, for like, let's say when your team they come out and they have such a dominant performance, what's that like for you when you're sitting there getting ready for like your first performance as a survivor? Like that's got to be, it's like almost like, okay, well now we've got to outdo him and show that like the survivors can throw it down too, or is it just kind of like you know what, we're still gonna come out and play our game. I'm not really worried about what our killer's doing.
You mean if our killer goes first and that's great?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, like we usually try not to let the chance that our killer gives, because killer is harder than survivor. So if our killer performs really well, we don't want to let him down. You know, like we feel bad. Because then if we perform poorly, then we oblige him to do as great in the second match, which is rare to get two great performances like continuously. So yeah, it's not like we don't relax even a bit, even if he did great.
It's kind of like making sure that you were able to capitalize on the great performance. That makes sense a lot. That's why I was kind of curious as far as like what that mindset's like as far as the mind of a survivor after seeing a very like good first trial, right?
Yeah. Totally, yeah.
Definitely, you guys did come out firing as well, firing on all cylinders. It felt like as far as your survivors went, especially in that first trial. As you said you went full sweat there. Really seemed like you guys were not as fast to necessarily reset, but then you guys were looping quite well and able to pre-drop those pallets just like you needed to go ahead and keep the Oni's pressure off of you guys.
Yeah, during the early game, I was surprised because he didn't drop chase on me on Shaq. Because like, so from that point onwards, he swapped, I think, to one of my teammates and got the first hit. Mm-hmm. So when he got that first hit, we started to rush gens more. And then one of my teammates did a stupid thing, which is trying a CJ tag on combat.
I called it. I told you.
Yeah, like we were on call, and he said, "Okay, I'm going for the CJ." So from that point, we started to sweat a little bit more, because we could have fucked up the game if he got a double down, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Although you kind of like to see, that's good confidence to see from your teammate too, though, right? Like having the confidence to even be able to try that in that sort of situation. Like obviously it would have really sucked had he gone down, and now you're stuck in this double down situation. But it's also kind of nice knowing that the person that's going into these trials in a competitive game alongside you has that sort of confidence, right?
Yeah, like he was like, nobody does this in comp, so it's going to work, but it didn't. So, but we didn't even get angry because it's like pre-season, so it's
Right.
for fun as well.
Indeed. Yeah, so definitely bringing out the S tier to start. You guys definitely put pedal to the metal to start. Did you think about bringing a non-meta killer as practice with it being preseason, or was that always the plan from the beginning?
Okay, so our plan, like before the match, we thought we were going to play two different maps, like Asylum and Cowset. So we were like going to play on Cowset, a low tier killer, and then on Asylum, the Blight. But then we realized that it was only only one map, so we went for the Blight first, just to secure the points basically. But if it had been two different maps, we would have gone with a lower tier in first match, because it's Cowset. Like even Blight can do poorly on Cowset.
Right.
Right, and I guess that's a good point to bring up is more towards regular season when we come across maps like that. I mean, you're going to be saving S tier killers more for like your suffocation pits and Azeroth resting places and cold towers, right?
Yeah, like maps that are like S tier for survivors. Is not useless, but it's like really risky because it can work really well or really bad for the killer. I mean,
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have anything to say to your fans or to your opponents today?
I like to say GG from me and from my teammates basically, and we hope to screen you guys if you ever want for practice and stuff.
Oh, for sure. I'll be hitting you up. Make sure to add me on Steam or add me on DBD. You can find me _OG_Vader. I will be hitting you up for scrims.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, so that's going to wrap up our matchup here today. That's going to wrap up our time here in the interrogation room. We are back, Wind Vader.
We're back at 9 Eastern, my friend. I'm going to be ready. Are you going to be ready? I'm going to have to go eat like quickly so that I can be back here.
Yeah, I'm going to finish my dinner. Because
Wait,
I've been stealing.
You've been.
Listen, man.
No,
the
wait
other
a
people
minute.
were talking.
No. Wait a minute. You've been eating on stream with me, and you didn't tell a body. Oh, I'm upset. Chat.
Sorry,
I'm gonna have to let you go, chat, while we hash this out, me and Q. My goodness, Q, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. Okay.
No, no.
All right, chat. Court is adjourned. We'll see you later.